And welcome back to Atria News Analysis. Mainstream media has politicized border crime. See how. Mainstream media has managed to politicize a frivolous lawsuit and used false clickbait. From Free Market Shooter. So CBP has been dealing with increasing numbers of drug mules smuggling meth across the border. We're almost certainly aware that what they are doing is dangerous and illegal. Knowing full well what is being smuggled daily and the large number of excuses they have heard on a day-to-day basis from smugglers, the conversation allegedly went something like this. The 16-year-old Mexican national told the two officers that the bottles contained apple juice, but they didn't buy it and asked Acevedo to take a sip to prove he wasn't lying, according to court records. He took a swig. Minutes later, Acevedo began sweating and screaming in Spanish about the chemicals. If the boy wasn't lying and it was apple juice, a swig would have been harmless. If it was meth, as they suspected, they would expect him to be suicidal and actually take a swig of it. If he refused, all that happened is he would have been arrested and deported. Wouldn't any rational human think a little brush with the law is preferable to death? In the age of frivolous lawsuits, it is not surprising that his family would file a wrongful death lawsuit for their son's suicide at a border crossing. And like many other happenings these days, it was shocking, but not surprising when his family was awarded $1 million from the suit. A Mexican family has been awarded $1 million in wrongful death lawsuit against the U.S. government following the death of 16-year-old Cruz Velasquez Acevedo at a southern border crossing between San Diego and Tijuana. On November 8th of 2013, Acevedo was attempting to smuggle liquid methamphetamine into the U.S. but was stopped by U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers who found 2 bottles of the narcotic on his person. After claiming the liquid narcotic was apple juice, CBP officers told him to drink it to prove his claim. What was shocking was the mainstream media headlines in response to the incident. The Washington Post, who the readers know is a common target at Free Market Shooter, posted the following headline. Yes, WAPO alleged in their headline that the U.S. border officers told a Mexican teen to drink liquid meth. At what point were the officers 100% it was meth? You guessed it. Iredale said the officers did test the liquid for drugs, but only after the teen started overdosing. The New York Daily News was no better with their headline. You either have borders or you don't have a country. The mainstream media would try to portray that you can have both. You can't. It's never happened in the history of the world. And how that family of the son who tried to smuggle the drugs even received any money at all is appalling, considering the drugs he brought over would probably claim 20 to 30 people's lives. How is it they became the victim? This just happened to the Pope. Watch 3-year-old Estella was so excited to meet the Pope Francis, she grabbed his skull cap right off his head. Surprised she wasn't arrested. I'm a Christian through and through, but what this Pope has said is that walls are bad, even though he lives behind walls, that mass immigration is somehow good, and borders are somehow non-Christian. I'm Christian through and through, and I believe in God with all my heart, but this guy does not represent us. He's an imposter.
Gracias. Mira. Francisco, Papa, somos inmigrantes de Estados Unidos, somos inmigrantes.
She really took his hat.
That was pretty funny, but he's still an imposter. While conservative students are under attack at this college, and it's bad. Another reason why colleges are a complete waste of time, energy, and money is that I've been able to succeed outside of college, and so have most people that become incredibly successful. Not that I would say I am, but I have succeeded outside of school more than I ever did within it. Right-wing students at Lutheran College say they have been violently threatened and told if you voted for Trump, you better be effing scared. From the College Fix. 4 in 5 students at St. Olaf College, a Lutheran liberal arts school, voted for Clinton-Kaine ticket in 2016. Well, of course they'd vote for globalism. They've been indoctrinated into the school system to think globalism is some sort of good idea, while protecting your borders is not. They're brainwashed idiots. Too young to know any different, I suppose. While Trump Pence drew 1 in 10 and Johnson Weld 1 in 20. But it's not only the feeling of marginalization that has led conservative students to stay in the closet at the Minnesota school known for its music programs. According to student newspaper Manitou Messenger, of the 12 students interviewed by Manitou Messenger, several have been violently threatened because of their political beliefs, and almost all of them feel as though they can't speak up about politics on campus, in class, online, or with their friends. On the night of the election, a student in Pause threatened to beat up college Republican President Emily Schaller, calling her a effing moron. Over the next couple of days, she overheard multiple students threaten to hurt the next conservative or Republican they saw. Vice President of St. Olaf College Republicans Catherine Hindraker, 19, had a similar experience. I think one of the hardest things was the second day. I went into Buntrick and someone yelled from the bottom, "If you voted for Trump, you better be effing scared." Everyone clapped and applauded, Hindraker said. Obviously, it didn't feel super safe. Then what the hell are you going to that school for? You're a conservative who chose to go to a liberal school. Like, are you fucked? Like some liberal students who felt unsafe after the election, a St. Olaf conservative student said she went home for a while because of the animus towards conservatives in her classes. She said online harassment led her to transfer to another school after the fall semester. Well, good. Go to a school that'll actually let you speak your mind. These liberal schools are garbage anyway. What the hell is a school for the arts? You expect to make a living from that? Give me a break. You're going to be 80 grand in debt for the rest of your life. Get a real job. I lift bro. Professor alleged threatens conservative students for flyers. And there is, on February 18th, a student posted an unsolicited photo of a group of students that supposedly included Trump supporters and encouraged fellow students to remember their faces. It's lonely being conservative at St. Olaf, even though its college Republicans chapter didn't endorse Donald Trump and refused to phone bank for him in the general election. Then they're not real Republicans. In response to St. Olaf's predominantly liberal campus, many conservative students chose to stay under the radar for fear of being cast out and misunderstood by their peers. A lot of people said the characteristics of the candidates were the characteristics of the voters. Dawson Kremlek, who's 20, said, "Conservatives didn't want those labels. They didn't want to be viewed differently. As a result, students will self-censor during class, even in discussion-based courses. I'm fine being political with one-on-one discussion," freshman Joss Larson said, but everyone else is liberal in the class. I keep my head down. Well, school isn't really, I don't know. People want to talk politics at school, but I don't really get why. What the hell's the point? A school system is not a safe space, and it's not really for political talk unless you're going into political science, in which case that's a different topic altogether. But I remember when I went to college, no one talked about politics in the class because I was going for a trade. What the hell are we talking about politics for? You're supposed to be there. I mean, you pay a substantial amount of money. You're just supposed to be there learning from the so-called teachers that are trying to teach you. But I don't know. It makes no difference whether these conservatives go to these schools or not, because the real war is fought outside of school. That's what these young fools have not figured out yet. But they soon will.